Thanks, Phil. We're going to hear the theme or the word disruption a lot. In fact, Jason Evans has it in his title. But what does it exactly mean and how powerful an impact it is? I'm going to try a little experiment. So we've heard a lot about technology and data and acronyms galore. And whilst it sets all our worlds alight, I'm sure, I think we'll have a little brain break, a mind-melting fact session, if you like. And I think what that disruption does, it just gets everyone a little bit more relaxed and hopefully a little bit more interactive. So I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try and make this sound and see if it works. Can someone tell me what sound this is trying to replicate? Heartbeat. We get that a lot. In fact, I get that every time I do that. And it is connected to that. It's actually, and if you search on Google, how many people die or pass away every day, the figure they come back with is 150,000. Leave planet Earth every day. Wake up, you go to sleep, it's 150,000 less. Well, why is he saying this morbid fact to start his presentation? So it's actually, if you do the math, and there's quite a few astute mathematicians here, it's actually on a 24-hour basis, 2 every second, leaving planet Earth. Now, why am I doing that? Well, it's because you clearly weren't part of that statistic. So you've made it in here, so I want you to tap the person on your right and say, well done, you've made it in alive. Fantastic. Okay, what's my segue for that? That attitude of gratitude, I think, is where I wanted to. We sometimes forget on these finalities. We're here, we're in the land of the living, and more than that, thank you, WaveNet, for organizing such a fantastic event at F1 Williams. Can we give them a round of applause for that, please? So, why am I starting off with WaveNet? As Phil said earlier, we too are very meticulous about who we partner with. And so what we found with WaveNet is they share the same qualities as us that enabled us to co-sell. I think, as Dan just said, not just resell us, but partner with us and explain the journey that we're on. And that comes from what I see as a very consultative approach. And that is the relationships they're able to build and then maintain. So you probably heard from Jason Evans. He's a fantastic storyteller. But in those stories, you recognize that he's making friendships and bonds that actually relate to a PO somewhere down the line. But it's the fact that they remember him and they remember WaveNet. And we found that consultative approach, as well as their knowledge of the industry, having resold vendors who are legacy in the past, and being innovative, is crucial for a joint partnership. So as you know, they are quite a sizable outfit, 50 million turnover, and we're going to hear a lot more about them, but I wanted to just explain why it is that they joined the partner program and why it is we selected them. And we do have a partner program, and we're not, we are 100% channel-centric in this region. So Five9, just a little high level about us, because I don't want to make this a pitch about Five9. Today is more about what do we learn from the industry we want to share with you as Five9 as an organization. Why is AI threatening to change things? What are the trends we're seeing? It's not about Five9 pitch, but just at a level of go-to-market, it's good to explain that we are 100% channel-centric for net new. So we have to go out there and work out who we're going to partner with that are able to represent us as a brand, as well as evangelize our product. And WaveNet have been a huge success. So they also get the artificial intelligence piece, and Jason loves a little bit of artificial intelligence. And, it seems to be the buzzword of the time. When someone says, Thomas, can you explain AI, please? And I say to them, fine, I will. Which part of AI do you want to learn about? Is it the machine learning element? Is it the robot process automation in the back end? Which part of it? And I'm met with this blank look almost. Because people just want to know the buzzword. They want to know what is AI. Now, WaveNet get that piece. And in our industry, it will optimize the agent experience. It will certainly make the customer journey a lot smoother. And it's something that I want to touch on today, not get too granular. You can always come to our stand and we can explain to you the power of AI and how we feel it's going to change the industry in granular detail, so the agent interface. But for now, I just want to say that it is one of the factors that is whipping up the perfect storm. And that perfect storm would be a year to accelerate for our industry. A year to accelerate. Why have I used that as a title? This industry has been threatening to change for a long time. IVR, SMS, definitely going to change contact center as a landscape forever. Well, perhaps I should start with what we do again, just to reiterate what it is that Five9 do. We provide the software platform that runs a contact center. Some call it a call center. Effectively, the software that runs your customer service. Why is that important? That's the window or the portal your customers use to contact an enterprise. And if that portal isn't to their satisfaction, in this service era, they will move on to another company who provides them the service they require. What I'm essentially saying is consumer loyalty is at an all-time low. And that's because this particular generation know that they have a plethora of choices if they don't get what they need. I mean, I'll use the coffee industry. If Starbucks is really letting them down and their macchiato with an umbrella is not hitting the notes anymore, or the service they're getting is not satisfactory, well, they'll complain, more than likely on social media, cause a brand nightmare for your team, and then move on to Nehru or Costa. And the list goes on down the high street. So your level of service to your end user is critical to the lifeline of an enterprise. I mean, that's how important the contact center industry is. And as we heard today, there are different silos. There's data, there's storage, there's voice. But specifically in this contact center, it is vital that you offer a solution that keeps your customers satisfied. This is a picture of contact center 20 years ago. Can I have a show of hands? Who's worked in a contact center before in a past life? Wow, I didn't expect that many. Okay, so some of you, dare I say it, might remember this kind of a scene. And if we push, you now see a modern contact center. What a radical change. Well, not really. The screens are a little flatter. But essentially, other than losing a bit of square feet per desk, it's essentially the same. And, okay, so it's a bit of a scandalous statement to make. Has it really changed that much in 20 years, apart from the screen size? No, it hasn't. And IVR has come, and SMS, and multi-channel and omni-channel, and threatened to really radicalize the contact center, and it simply hasn't done so. However, there are other industries that have seen something start changing. There's been the beginning of a migration, and that is from the premise to the cloud. And if we see here within CPaaS meetings, especially UC, so unified communications, folk are moving to the cloud very quickly. The penetration is happening. With contact center, it's not been as quick. It's been threatening, not really happened. Now, some of that is down to the legacy providers with a bit of their scaremongering and, where is your data kept? You don't know how secure it is. You don't know what the uptime rates are. Do you really want to have your customer service platform in the cloud? Now, a lot of that is down to that, but a lot of it is also down to the fact that we needed to, cloud providers, that is, Five9 included, get to a place of feature parity and then also future-proof, and actually be as flexible as what we said we'd be, if you want to pay for what you use in terms of agents. And we believe we're there now. And with a small percentage already moved over, it's 10%, we're going to come over it. But the migration, in fact, I would go further and say it's an exodus now. We no longer, our team, go in and have to evangelize on why you should move to premise to cloud. The market gets it. It understands the benefits. It understands the ROI. It sees that now's the time, if at least, even if it's just a department, to move over and see what is the power of the cloud here? What do we get from Five9 as opposed to, Cisco, Avaya, Aspect, Mitel, the old guard, who, credit to them, they are trying to play catch-up. It is catch-up. Five9 have been doing this for 18 years, so we're true cloud and been doing it for 18 years, staying in our lane. And as an organization, we've got to $280 million with a market cap of $2 billion. Employee count of 1,000 headquartered in California, and our EMEA go-to-market is through the channel and partners like WaveNet. The market, 9.4 million contact center seats up for grabs here in Europe, of which Largest, by a long shot, is the UK, with 33% of the market. So there are more 500-plus seat contact centers in the UK than the whole of mainland Europe combined. It's a pretty amazing fact, which is why we're focusing in on the UK as our base for Five9 and working with the likes of WaveNet to move on out into mainland. Now, 33% for the UK, closely followed by, can anyone have a guess? I want to try and keep this interactive. I'm standing between you and lunch. I'm aware of that. So I want to try and keep this interactive. Who can sort of have a guess at who's next within Europe? Holland. Holland is about fifth. Nice. Ireland? Yeah, I haven't checked where Ireland is, but it's not Ireland. Any other guesses for second with 14% of the market? Germany. Why does Phil have to get the questions right all the time? Germany with 14%. So it's an interesting time. So the market gets it. They want to move from premise to cloud. You've got this huge market. What are we going to do about it? That's the addressable market. And the challenge we have, historically, humans have been really bad at predicting change. That's a fact. And if we were very good at it, a lot of us would have made our millions in the stock exchange, if I can say the words. We're historically bad at predicting this drastic or radical change in growth. And what we're seeing as Five9, as a leader of this industry, is that there are a few, I would say, factors creating a storm, a perfect storm. And as I've shown here and talked about earlier, IVR, email, chat, omnichannel, chatbot threatened. But now what we're seeing through cloud, AI, and gamification, they're the three factors that are now going to just exponentially change this industry like we've never seen it before. They're the three factors that we are seeing this premise migration grow from 10 and we believe up to 50% in the next 2 years. Well, why AI? AI, and the amount of times I have to explain to people, it's not, a row of iRobots taking the first line call in a contact center. That's not what AI is. It's the element where you can have the first line resolution tackled by AI. So they're able to take the call, believe it or not, sound like a human, but nevertheless, what your order number is, what is the problem you have, which particular department to then send that to, would be done as a first-line resolution by AI technology. So that then suddenly, as you can imagine, reduces what they think is the cost to their contact center, but of course our license fee goes up. We won't go into that right now. But certainly optimizes their first-line resolution. Why cloud? Well, there's a lot more return on investment. No longer are you paying for a 10,000 or a 1,000 or 500-seat contact center in the premise with the tin stuck there for the entire year, when really, seasonally, it's only in, I can think of Clinton cards, February for Valentine's Day and December for Christmas Day, that they really need 500 agents. For the rest of the year, they just need 50, 60. It trickles along on a monthly basis. But with cloud, you're going to pay for what you use. So the ROI is quite clear. And why have I mentioned gamification? I mentioned gamification because gamification is, there are three people, this is why we're passionate about this, in case you haven't got that just as yet, that benefit from our technology. And I'm going to do it in the order of importance. Customer, they benefit obviously because they get the greatest service. They're really happy with this customer, and Five9 produces that service for them. The customer's really important. The agent in a contact center, that's an important person in our industry. If they're not having a day-to-day great experience, they're not going to give a great experience back when the phone rings. It's a fact of nature. And guess what? The agents of today are millennials. I think we're on Generation Z. I think there's nobody in this room who is Generation Z, so there's no danger of that. We're talking about a group of folk who play video games. It's a $90 billion industry. They're chained to their smartphones. That's what they're about. They walk into a contact center because that's the job they've got after university, and what are they told at the moment? Put your phones in the cupboard, focus on that slim screen, and take customer complaint calls for 9 hours. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to get disengaged. There's going to be a big turnover. They're going to leave after a few months. It's not a career that someone's aspiring to forever. So with our gamification offering, what we're finding is, well, A, we're increasing the length of time they spend as a contact center agent because they're engaged in their job. They suddenly have a pseudo character that gives them coins. They collect e-coins and then they get, points win prizes, right? So you get iPads and iPhones. Apple Watches, and so on and so forth throughout their career pertaining to the e-learning they're doing and collecting those coins. So that's, again, very high level. Please come along to our stand. We'll explain what gamification does to the contact center, but it's very exciting because it keeps the contact center agent there. And, well, Mr. CIO in an organization gets this within seconds. It's the single biggest cost in a contact center, the loss of agents after a few months of spending money training them. And this eliminates and certainly brings an ROI back. So in the interest of time, I'm going to probably whiz past some of these slides. So the modernization is accelerating. I'm moving away from PowerPoint, so let me see what this slide actually says. This is telling us that the other industries, such as CRM, I can think of Salesforce and Oracle, they've moved to the cloud. You have UC in the cloud. So these are vital segments to the entire contact center project. We never walk into a contact, it's very rare, we walk into a contact center project that doesn't involve a CRM element. They might be looking at another provider, or they're moving from their PBX to a UC PBX, and they might be looking at a Ring Center or a Fuse or Microsoft Skype. So UC, CRM, and WFM, which is workforce management, are the three realms we always see in and amongst a contact center project, and they're all cloud. So that transformation from legacy to cloud is becoming accelerated. Who should you engage with and why? Now, our recent change in management is something I feel at this point I do need to mention, and why it is they've chosen Five9. We have a new CEO. His name is Rowan Trollope. He was one of the golden boys of Silicon Valley, so head of Internet of Things at Cisco. And we've brought him over. He's chosen Five9 to be CEO. And he's brought over Jonathan Rosenberg, who is our new CTO and head of AI. Jonathan actually co-authored SIP protocol. So it's quite a claim to make on your CV. Why are these gentlemen choosing Five9? Well, it's the data that runs every day through Five9, the customer-rich data. If AI is a subject of interest to you, know that it's not about the algorithms, it's about the data. It's what kind of data is flying through Five9 as an organization, and it's everything about the customer. What are their likes? What are their preferences? What time do they generally call in? This enables us to be preemptive and predict what it is they're even calling in for. Why are they on your website on this particular day or time, and who should they be pointed to in the contact center? This is all key to the revolution that we're seeing and the reason why we see acceleration. I'm going to click through to all of them. I'm going to run through these ones because we've touched on it a lot. But in essence, if you want to speak to us more about the AI, I would do it in an injustice by just getting granular here. And due to the lack of time, I'd rather you come to our stand so we can explain to you who are within our client base already using AI, what are they using it for, and give you guys use cases on that. So I'm going to go into this slide now and explain why it is we feel, well, we've explained why we feel it's going to happen, and it's already happening. And the analogy I like to use is, does everyone remember when Nokia cornered the mobile market and everyone had a Nokia? Hands up who had a Nokia 3310. Good, I thought you'd remember. And Snake was the game we were playing on the tube, and everyone was remembering that. And everyone thought Nokia, in fact, Time magazine put Nokia up there and said, that's it, they've cornered the market, they're here to stay forever. Next year, Apple released their smartphone, and everything changed. And so that's evidence that we're not really that great at predicting this phenomenal change. That's the analogy we're using for what we're seeing in our industry right now. That is what we're about to see from the legacy players, and I can name them, Aspect, Avaya, Cisco, Mitel. And now you're seeing a clamor within Gartner, Forrester, and all the other auditors to see who are the new guard who are in the cloud. And it really is a moment of acceleration. Personally speaking, great news for me, because not just is it great for your end users and their customer experience, as an earning potential. I mean, let's face it, it's not really an elephant in the room. All of us want to earn as much money as possible. I personally don't want to be doing this in 4 years' time. I had a plan 9 years ago, and I'm on target now to hopefully within the next few years, not to quote Scarface, be out of the game. Well, why? I've seen this 3 times in my life, and I've missed it. The dot-com boom, which some of you may remember. Some people were savvy enough to buy up domains and sell them for hundreds of thousands of pounds, consequently retiring. I was too young, dumb, and I'm not going to fill in the next blank, to make use of that. The second time I saw it happening was a social media boom. Facebook. Someone used the quote, shooting fish in a barrel. Selling Facebook when it first came. One of my best friends was employee number 6 at Facebook UK. He's in Goa right now, in a mansion, retired, with 6 houses paid off here in the UK. Well, why am I mentioning all this? We all want to have or be in that moment, in the right space, at the right time, to benefit from that. And I, along with the rest of my peers, and dare I say it, some of my competitors in the quadrant, believe this is about to happen for the contact center industry. We believe WaveNet is a type of partner that we can go out there and make hay, to use another quote. Win customers and win them over. Who else are we winning over? Global skincare and makeup and fragrance company. Marketing have told me don't mention who they are. It's not a legal thing, so I might drop a clue. It's the other one. It's not the one that says because you're worth it. You can speak to me later about who it is. Why Five9? Well, we integrate with Salesforce as well as all of the CRMs, but our deep line integration into Salesforce is key for this industry. Salesforce is usually the screen, single pane that an agent is looking at for the data on the person they're talking to, and also as a wrap-up for the notes on how that call went, and e-commerce and all sorts. So CRM is very key, and we integrate not just with Salesforce, we integrate with Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle, all of the CRM providers that you can name. And the deep line integration allow us to be a powerful player when we come in front of customers and enterprises. That is a 507-seat contact center. Now, we can actually provide contact centers from 3 seats all the way up to our largest customer, which is post 3,000. So it's good to just mention that right now. It's not just for the huge enterprises. It is for SMEs as well. Just looking at the time, I want to... Leading global wearables brand. If you're fit, even a little bit, you might know who these guys are. That's really bad. I'm a daddy now. I'm allowed to make daddy jokes, Phil. But, 600 agents. Why Five9? Again, there is integration not just with Salesforce. Calabrio. So I did mention workforce management as the other solution that's always there in the background in a contact center project. And again, we work with the likes of Verint, Calabrio, NICE. Workforce management, for those who don't know, is a resource planning tool for contact centers that really go above the 100-agent range, where they really need software to start resource planning and managing their workforce. And we integrate with all of the WFM providers, which is key. Why is it key? Well, you can say to any board or decision-making committee, you decide who you want for the other pieces. We will plug in and work with them. That makes it a very powerful proposition because we're not dictating to an enterprise who you have to use. Someone mentioned you have to, I think, pay a lot of money or pay money to get on this quadrant. I'm not quoting on that. But I will say that if you look at all of the auditors, Gartner, Forrester, DMG, all of them, they share a similar ground on who the leaders are within this quadrant. And they do their research. And there's a reason why we're up there actually for execution at the very top. So the message we give, and this is something that brings an assurance to enterprises as they take the bold step to move from premise to cloud, or in fact, like we're seeing now, sometimes from a lower level cloud provider to us. What is actually going to happen when we sign that PO, Thomas, Five9? What evidence do you have that you're going to execute on what was promised during the sales cycle? And so we pride ourselves in saying we're number one, not just according to Gartner, but all the auditors for execution. What is sold during the sales cycles, our customers testify that that's exactly what was deployed 90 days later. 90% of our deployments are done in 90 days. So another fact of robust ability and flexibility of a cloud contact center. 90% of our contact centers are deployed in 90 days. Thank you very much. See you guys at lunch.